If you feel like your energy is draining this holiday season and you're ready to breathe again, even when you are working and at home and doing all of these different things, then do not miss today's episode on how to build momentum without burning out. So far in this series, we have gotten clear on things that are weighing us down in this holiday season because there is a lot to do, especially if you own your own practice or your own business or you are helping people. And we have learned ways to protect our energy and started working on already building momentum for this new year, even in this busy season. So, today we are going to continue building on this. And we have been looking at different strategies for the season. But today we're going to be switching gears and we are going to be more so looking at how you believe in yourself in order to take action for what you want to do next year. Because here's the thing, you can make a plan, you can create goals, but if you are operating from an identity that feels small or feels overwhelmed or feels unsure, then those plans, those strategies that you created, they no longer stick. So, I am Rachel Britton. I'm a clinical psychologist and a mindset, clarity, and strategy coach. And I help entrepreneurs, I help therapists, and I help coaches that want to uncover what's really holding them back and finally create that structure, that mindset, and those strategies that they need to create true time and financial freedom in their life. Because what I have learned is that success, it doesn't come from forcing more in our day. It actually comes from aligning our decisions, aligning our offers, and aligning our boundaries with who we are becoming and who we want to be. And that is exactly what the series is going to help you with this year. So if you're ready to join me this week, we are going to be stepping into the version of you that you want to be next year because we are in December and we want to find that version of you that leads with clarity, confidence, and intention. So, first and foremost, I want you to know you are not alone in losing sight of who you are during the holiday season if that is happening to you. A while ago, I remember sitting with a list of the New Year goals that I had. I was actually in this training, and they were like, "Okay, spend 30 minutes and write down every single thing that you want in the new year." And here's my brain. It's like, "Okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I do want to do. This is where I want to be. I want to have this much, earn this much." Blah, 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 right? I had this huge list, and the goals on there looked great. They were organized. You could tell I was excited about the new year, ambitious about what I wanted to do, and it was way too big, which I learned later on the next year. I geared up for this new year. I had this list and I believed that I could do it all. And these were big goals. Um, what I realized is that I needed a reality check because about a month into the year, I would say, yeah, it was about a month. I was just overwhelmed with these goals. I started ignoring the list. I think I actually hit it or stopped looking at it. And it was just it was too much. And I just had so much guilt for not sticking to my goals because they weren't reasonable. They weren't matching who I really was at that time, but also who I was working on becoming. I was creating these goals from the old version of myself, the version that was scared of failure, the version that was tired, the version that wanted to prove my worth because I thought it was based on success and what I could get done. And that version of me set these unrealistic goals. And that's when it hit me that I didn't need a better plan. I didn't need more goals on my list. I mean, I needed goals, but I didn't need these goals that were too extreme. I needed to look at my identity. I needed to base myself not on that idea of new year, new me, but instead identify this truer version of myself that aligned more with who I was now and who I wanted to grow into. And that's the thing. I think growing into is this small process where we learn and we grow. And so if we're setting ourselves up for failure, it really makes it harder to grow and to transition because we have unrealistic expectations. So let's talk about what identity really means and why it shapes everything when you're creating these goals for next year. So, identity, it's simply the story that you tell yourself about who you are. It's not who you pretend to be, it's not who others expect you to be, but who you believe you are. It's this internal, quiet sense, this is me. So your identity influences your choices, it influences your habits, influences your confidence and your boundaries. And so when we're thinking about our identity, we're really looking at that internal operating system. Who are we? So if you've been feeling stuck or if you feel like you've been really inconsistent, there is a high likelihood that maybe your identity and your goals, they aren't aligned yet. And that's what we're going to work on shifting today. So, to do this, we are going to do this reflection process that can help you meet the version of you who's already living the life that you want. And that is next year's version of yourself. So, next year will be 2026 when I create this or when during this training, but if you're watching this in a later year, just replace that year, okay? So right now we're looking at the 2026 version of you. And I want you to think of this as a conversation with your future self, the one that is calmer, maybe clearer, maybe more confident, maybe more focused or grounded. And I'm going to have you walk through three powerful questions that really help you step into her identity now. Not someday, but now. Okay? So, let's walk through them together. The first question that you're going to kind of reflect on and ask yourself is, who am I becoming? So make sure you write that down. Who am I becoming? So when you ask this question, I want you just to picture the 2026 version of you. What qualities does she or he have? How does how do they align or how do they move through the day, right? What feels natural to this version of you that might feel hard to right now? Right. So just asking those questions. What qualities does this individual have? What helps them move through the day? What feels natural that maybe feels harder at this moment? And just picture that 2026 version of you. Some examples of this might be maybe that version of you feels more confident. Maybe they feel like they keep things more simple. Maybe they don't rush through decisions and they take the time to honor what feels aligned to them. Maybe they honor their own boundaries. And once you write that down, once you meet with that future self of you, I want you to move to the next question. But take your time. If you need to pause this, that's absolutely okay. The second question, once you have that identified, is what does this part of you no longer tolerate? This is where identity really gets real. Because becoming that version of yourself will actually mean letting go of the habits, the patterns, and the beliefs that are holding you back right now. So, some examples of this might be overthinking every decision or pushing yourself past your limits. It might be saying yes to avoid feeling guilty or to avoid having them have emotions. Maybe it's changing the pattern of hustling for approval. I mean, we can still hustle, but for approval, that might get in our way, right? And it might be ignoring our intuition. So just ask yourself these questions. And when you do this, we want you to ask these questions in a way that aligns with identity growth because your identity will grow the moment that you release what behaviors and what actions you're taking that no longer match who you're becoming. And once you have leaned into this, this is where you can ask the next question. And this is question 3. What is your future self's way of working, resting, and deciding? So you can put those in 3 different columns. What's this future self's way of working? How do they rest? And how do they decide? Now, we want you to recognize that identity isn't just a mindset. it's also our behaviors. How we act and how we respond to things can either feel in alignment or out of alignment with who we want to be. So, understanding how you want to show up for yourself allows you to start leaning into the small actions that will allow you to shift into and match that identity, right? Because we want to make it cohesive. So, an example of this is maybe a behavior that you want to change is planning simply, not perfectly, right? Maybe it's taking breaks before you're feeling burned out. Maybe it is trusting your first instinct versus questioning each time you have a decision to make. Maybe it's not apologizing when you have a need and just stating your need. Maybe it's just following through on small commitments, right? Making that choice to follow through on those small commitments to align with your identity and who you want to be. Now, when you do this, make sure that you are not basing your worth on the results because that's a very, very important piece of it. At the end of the day, the process is the part that drives us and motivates us to keep going. So think about how you want to show up in the process and what identity you want to have when you are taking action. The beautiful thing about knowing your identity and who you want to be is that you can start taking realistic small steps that align with that future self. Don't do what I did, where I went big and felt overwhelmed. Just take those small, realistic steps. And when you live even 5% more like your future self, you will become that individual that feels authentic to who you are. So let's now turn this into a simple practice that you can do today. This week, I want you just to write a short letter from your future self. You can include some of the information that we just had you, or that I had you just write out with those 3 questions. And in this letter, you are just going to describe what changed, what you're proud of, what was released, what you finally allowed yourself to do, and how you feel in your business and in your life. And this letter is not about setting goals for yourself. It's actually truly about your identity. It's about who you showed up for yourself in 2026. And it's going to help you connect emotionally with the person that you are becoming and that you want to become. And next week, we're going to turn that identity into simple, sustainable plan for 2026. So we will come up with the strategies, the skills to match this identity. All right. So now that you have met your future self and you are taking those natural next steps to learning how to build a plan that aligns with her, which will be next week, I want you just to take a moment to not feel overwhelmed with the vision of you, right? Like just be aware of where you are right now. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, just be like, okay, where I'm at right now. And this is where I want to be in the next year. So week 5, again, is where everything comes together. And I'll help you create a simple, powerful plan for 2026. And hopefully that will help you feel less overwhelmed, less pressure, and just more clarity and direction. So work on that future self letter. Make sure you go through those 3 questions if you haven't done that yet. And just be honest with yourself. Let yourself dream and let yourself really imagine who you're becoming. And if this video resonated with you, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who you think would really benefit from growing and getting into their next level self as well. You are becoming someone powerful and you're doing it step by step. Do not forget. And I will see you next week for the last week of this series. I will see you then.